Dott, from your point of view as a founding member of Dott, what makes Dott so much different than other operators that are operating? Obviously, Dott is one of the 3 or 4 operators that were selected by Paris a few years ago after a long selection process that's focused on the quality and focused on how you operate and so on. So obviously, you're one of the top operators. However, can you explain a little bit in short terms what makes Dott so special? Maybe you can relate to other cities that you are operating in. I know in Brussels, people really like the way Dott operates. Maybe I can also, we can discuss that later on, but people really like the way you operate there in Brussels.
Yeah, actually, the user satisfaction in Brussels is very strong. So that we have a strong leadership there. So super happy, and it was our first city, so very attached.
And the city is also happy, I think.
Yeah, and so I think the key differentiation when we created the company is to become a very responsible operator since the day one. So what does it mean? It means first having all operations done in-house. So the recharge, the repair, the maintenance, the overall maintenance, everything done in-house. So no outsourcing, no juicer. Since the beginning, it was a strong value when we created the company. To refocus, so first focus on operations, of course, in-house operations. To find the most relevant hardware, so really built for this shared usage. So the first hardware generation we had, so back in Jan 2018, lasted 4 years. And still in operations in Poland, for instance, we are refurbished. So yeah, focus on the long-lasting hardware, really built for this usage. And 3, I will say, bit more careful start. So no growth at all costs. Let's focus on a few big cities like Brussels, Paris, Lyon, Turin at that time. Let's make it sustainable, profitable, useful for people, and then let's scale. That's a very careful growth, I would say.
Okay, but that strategy also means that you need to make some initial investments when you need to hire local people, for example. It costs a lot of money when you need to do your operations yourself locally, the warehouse and so on, the durability of the scooters. I assume when you were selected for Paris, you decided to put some investment in the city itself to make sure that your service has the quality that you always want to obtain, right? So you did have to put a lot of investment in the city of Paris, I assume.
Yeah, we invested a lot, as you mentioned, in the warehouse. It's a 2,000 square meters warehouse, so it's a big one. Actually, we found this warehouse, I think it was in March 2019. We still have it. Now we have 3 warehouses actually in Paris, one in the south, one in the north, and one in the center. We invested in people, so mechanics, patrollers, drivers, etc. So in total in Paris now it's 200 people working day and night, 7 days a week to maintain the service, both for the e-scooters and for the e-bikes, because now we have e-bikes as well in Paris, which is also the case in Brussels and a few other cities like Rome, London, and so on.
Yeah, that actually also illustrates the other aspects of e-scooters that e-scooter companies bring to a city. In your case, for example, if Dott would not be able to operate in Paris anymore, those people would also lose their job and lose their livelihoods, right? So there will be a bigger impact than just the scooters that disappear. Also, jobs would disappear.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So there's a big impact for users, so people who are using the service every day. There's also an impact for non-users, because then people will use other means of transportation, starting with the metro, but also private cars, private scooters, or private mopeds or taxi. And there's also, of course, an impact for us as a company and for our employees, for sure. But also for the overall industry, there's a big impact for everyone, actually.
Now, let's discuss Paris. This is an article from 2019.
Yeah.
And the mayor and her policy has always been making a 15-minute